Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? This is another episode of Notable Prisons and the Inmates that Occupy them. So I've been getting a lot of great feedback in the comment section, so we definitely going to try something different this episode. But first, I'm going to need y'all to get your lighters ready because, it's about to get crazy. So what we about to do is we about to tap in with Sir Donny Johnson and I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of history about this guy. I felt he has a good story, and I covered him in the Pelican Bay episode. But anyways, here we go. So Donny Johnson was 5 when his violent ex-con father subjected his mother Helen to a savage night-long beating. He was a carefree little child up until that point, but his mother recalled on a visit to London to see the film, but after this had happened, he got hostile. He would start breaking things. The beating was something that went on for 9 to 10 hours, which is something very traumatizing for a child to see. You feel me? They had neighbors on both sides, but nobody would call the police. And she got away at 6 in the morning and called the police, but when they came, her ex-husband was gone. So it was another 5 years before she discovered that Donny had heard the entire beatings and still felt guilty that he had been unable to stop it. The damaged little boy became a drug-using, willful teenager. This led to a confrontation over the sale of the drug called PCP, in which he and 2 other young men were involved in a murder in San Jose, California. The police wanted to know which of them carried out the killing, and the trio decided that they would toss coins, and whoever lost would confess. So they flipped the coin. Donny lost, said his Grimes, his mother, a retired nurse from the Castro Valley near San Francisco. They agreed that whoever gets the bad flip, they would take care of, and of course they didn't. So after being sentenced to 15 years, his situation worsened. In 1989, when he got involved in a prison fight with a member of the AB, Aryan Brotherhood, the brand, the confrontation in the prison, which led to a guard opening fire, and the AB gang member was badly injured. Now, the AB had told him, "You have to pay for this, bro. You've got to get the guard." So she claims that they then told her son that if you don't take care of this guard, essentially we're gonna go after your people. You know what I mean? It's gonna get ugly for your people. We're gonna pop up at their house and we're gonna do what we're gonna do. And that was what happens if he refused. But of course, he didn't refuse. So what had happened was Donny, he had a dull, horrible shank that wasn't too sharp or nothing, and essentially the other guards retaliated by beating him into a coma after they realized that Donny assaulted the guard. So after this assault, and the guards put hands and feet on him and gave him that 1-2 with a side of biscuit and fries. The priest had called his mother and said, "If you want to see your son alive, you should come now." And when she got there, they said that he had been in a scuffle. And so after all that, he took it to trial and all that, and then he ended up pleading guilty, and he was sentenced to another 18 years, which is what led him into solitary confinement in the notorious Pelican Bay prison in Northern California. Now, Donny would get visits from his mother, but they were conducted behind the bulletproof glass. Then in 2002, New York's psychotherapist and writer Steve Kurtz saw Johnson's profile on the list of inmates seeking pen pals, and he contacted him, encouraged him to paint. But access to art materials was prohibited by Johnson, but he had seen fellow prisoners use M&Ms to color greeting cards, and another prisoner had once asked him for a piece of his ponytail to make a paintbrush. He borrowed those ideas, and then he also added apple and sesame seeds and eggshells so that his paintings would have texture. Now, this is a quote from Donny about all that. He says, I paint in the blood of the prison industrial complex, he writes in one letter. I dig the look of Jackson Pollock in Miro is so playful and full of life. I love Van Gogh and relate to his outsider status. I can feel his exile in my garret and his asylum in his cell. One of Kurt's friends is the English filmmaker Mike Dibb, who made the celebrated Ways of Saying with John Berger in 1970s and has since made countless television documentaries, mostly recently a film on Parkinson's disease. This is the director that, anyways, that the dude introduced to him. So the prisoner, he had wrote back, when you're buried alive, you dig for your life. Digging where you delve in solitary confinement into the unconsciousness, I found a pool of mythic images and painted them with my own DNA, i.e. brush fashioned out of my own hair. He and Dibb have since met in prison and they kept in regular touch in the film. Donny Johnson's voice is voiced by actor Stanley Tucci. Donnie's ordeal is an inspiring example of one man's astonishing resilience and personal transformation achieved in a defiant, gratuitously cruel prison system, says Dibb. Will he ever be released? He's now in the high deserts prison in Susanville, California, and his next parole hearing was in December of 2021. In the meantime, he paints and writes and paints and digs for his life. Johnson also is not allowed to profit from his work, but in 2006, he stated that he intended the money to go to the Pelican Bay prison project that helps the children of prisoners. After Johnson sending paintings to a friend, the friend organized an exhibition of work in Mexico. In 2006 and August 2007, exhibitions of Donny Johnson's painting were held at the Yam Gallery in San Miguel, Mexico, with proceeds to go to the Pelican Bay prison project. On one night, 6 of his postcards pictures sold there for $500 apiece. Prison officials responded by confiscating his art supplies and prohibiting him from sending pictures out as a punishment for unauthorized business from inside of prison, but eventually allowed him to send pictures out again. And that's just brief history and story of Donny Johnson. Remember, y'all, give me feedback in the comments, and we're gonna tighten this up and we're gonna keep this going. Free Donny Johnson, and yeah.